Hello again, Year 9. Today we're going to be carrying on our written methods work. All of this week we are going to be looking at multiplication. So you might recall in the autumn term we looked at multiplying integers and decimals by a single digit. So that's where we're going to begin today. And by the end of the week we're going to be doing some long multiplication where we are multiplying by numbers bigger than 10. But before we get started, just something to wake your brains up. So I have a picture made up of lots of circles, and the problem is, can you write in the numbers 1 to 11, so one of those digits in each circle, such that each line of 3 circles adds up to the same total? So what I mean by each line is you will see there's a line going across there, there's a vertical line, there's some diagonal lines. Each of those rows of 3 circles have to add up to the same total. So pause the video here and see if you can figure it out. So the key to solving this problem is making sure that the middle value in the center is the middle number between 1 and 11. And the middle number is 6. Then what you need to do is you need to use minimums and maximums. So 1 and 11. So all of 1, 6 and 11 adds up to 18. And then what you do is you basically, as you increase one number, you decrease the other one. So 2, 6 and 10, 3, 6 and 9, 4, 6 and 8, 5, 6 and 7. So each of those sets of 3 numbers adds to make 18. So I do hope you've managed to print out one of my sheets today. If that's not been possible, that is not a problem. Just make sure you write the title, Written Methods 3, and the objective, multiply integers, which are whole numbers, and decimals by a single digit. I will go through this work quite quickly because you have done this before and it is revision of work that we did in the autumn term. So this work should seem very familiar to you. I would recommend you have something to write with, but you also have a ruler and a pencil for doing your answer lines. I also recommend that you put a number in each square, and that way your work will be neat and tidy. So we'll start with a couple of whole number examples, then we'll remind ourselves how we do this with decimals. So 132 times 4, we set it out with place value 132 multiplied by 4. This part is the part that you could do with your pencil and your ruler. It will look a lot tidier. And then we just have to multiply each place value column. So I've got hundreds, tens and units. I've got to multiply each place value column by 4. So for the first one, it's 2 times 4. So that is 8. For the tens, it is 3 times 4. And 3 times 4 is 12. Remember, when you get a number bigger than 10, you carry into the next column. So for 12, it is 2 and carry the 1 into the next column. There is my 12 reading diagonally. And then finally for the hundreds, it is 1 times 4, which is 4. Add the 1 is 5. So the answer to 132 times 4 is 528. And this is the sort of layout that I would be expecting to see for every question today. Now, obviously, if you're better at your times tables, you might be able to get through more questions than other people. Let's have a look at another one, 243 times 6. So again, same idea, 243, one digit per square, times 6. Draw in your answer line. So let's have a go at this one. 3 times 6, well, that's 18. So it's 8 and carry 1. 4 times 6 is 24. Don't forget to add the 1, 25. So that is 5, carry 2, 25. And then finally, 2 times 6 is 12, add 2, 14. So the answer to 243 times 6 is 1,458. So the process of using decimals isn't much different. We just need to remember to put a decimal point in our calculation. Now you might choose to put the decimal point in a square. You might choose to put it in between two of the squares on one of the lines. I will leave that up to you. What I mean by that, you might write 27.4 times 4 either like this. That's where I've put a decimal point on a line, or you might prefer to write it in one of the squares. And I think that's what I will do today. I will write 27.4 times 4. No need to make these decimal points ridiculously large. I remember having this conversation back in autumn when some of you were doing your decimal points that big. Okay, it's a point, not a boulder. And remember to use your ruler for a nice, neat answer line. Now, of course, what you need to remember is you need to also put your decimal point in the same place, line it up for your answer line. So we've got 4 times 4 is 16. So it's 6, and don't forget to carry the 1 into that next column, 16. We now have 7 times 4. 7 times 4 is 28. Add the extra 1, 29. And 2 times 4 is 8. Add the 2 is 10. So that 1 would be in the next column. So the answer to 27.4 times 4 is 109.6. Let's keep going. My next one is 9.07, and we are multiplying this one by 5. Line up your decimal points. Okay, so we have got smallest column first, 7 times 5, 35. 0 times 5. Now don't get caught out. 0 times 5 is 0. It's not 5. 0 times 5 is 0. Anything times 0 is 0. But don't forget we've got this extra 3 to add. So that becomes 3. And now we have 9 times 5, which is 45. I could put the 4 there, or I could put it straight in my next column, because there's no extra numbers to multiply. So the answer to 9.07 times 5 is 45.35. Let's look at two final examples for today. So 52.8 times 9. So I'm going to set this one up. 52.8 times by 9. Now, when you're doing these questions today, try and avoid looking in your planner at your times table grids. Don't mind you doing that at the end to check, but try without, please. 8 times 9 is 72. So it's 2 and carry 7. 72 reading diagonally. We now have 2 times 9. 2 times 9 is 18. We need to add the extra 7, so that is 25. Finally, we have 5 times 9 is 45. Add 2 is 47. So the answer to 52.8 times 9 is 475.2. Finally, let's do 10.8 times 7. 10.8 times 7. So we have 8 times 7 first. 8 times 7 is 56. So 6 in the tenths column, carry the 5 to the next units column, 56. 0 times 7 is 0, but add the 5. And finally, 1 times 7 is 7. So 10.8 times 7 is 75.6. So there are some questions for you to try. I've got 4 warm-up questions where you are not using decimals. Please set them out as I showed you for the first 2 examples. And then I would be expecting everybody to get onto some decimal questions today. See how much time you have remaining. Remember to spend 5 minutes checking your answers. I've done answers for all of these questions using a place value method, just as it should appear in your book, so that should help you if you've gone wrong to try and spot some mistakes. Of course, if there's any problems today, you can contact me in the Ask the Teacher channel.